This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Masterverse Rulers of the Sun Pig-Head action figure. This was purchased at Ross for $4. On the back, we got some nice artwork here where it talks about him. Pig-Head, wicked enemy of Sunman. The rulers of the sun punished Prince Zagor of House Shadas for his cruelty, banished him to the shadows, and transformed him into Pig-Head, half man, half pig. Now he has one goal: steal the energy from the first sun so that he might harness its power and rule the galaxy. Only one man stands in his way: Sunman. As part of his wave, we had the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Shadow Weaver. And actually, I've done reviews for both the Sorceress and Shadow Weaver already. For those of you who aren't aware, the Sunman set of figures were actually not part of the Masters of the Universe line back in the 80s, but a line that was somewhat based on them. Mattel did go ahead and license those figures to add to the Masters of the Universe line, and unfortunately that also meant that we did not actually get mini comics to tell their stories specifically, but combination stories with Masters of the Universe. And I think I've mentioned this before in a previous review of a figure. They tend to end up being very Mary Sue / Gary Stu-ish characters in them, being way overpowered. And when you consider that He-Man is supposed to be the most powerful man in the universe, and that he can pick up a freaking mountain and throw it, and yet you've power scaled this subline so far that these guys outdo that, that's honestly kind of sad, and because that's saying that you can't come up with a way for those figures to actually work in this universe as normal characters. But just to go with this, I did grab the mini comic that came with the Origins version of Pig-Head, just to give everybody an idea of what he's actually supposed to be like. And we open it up with He-Man, actually the 2000X version of He-Man, fighting a creature. It looks kind of resembles that thing that they've been shown in Revelations before, but I can't remember what it's called. But He-Man defeats it, and later talks to the Sorceress, as they brought to meet a man named Sunman, who apparently, at this point, it does look like Sunman and He-Man are supposed to be familiar with each other already. Again, it would have been kind of nice to have a story that showed us how they got together. Then we have a Skeletor who meets up with Pig-Head, and they want to kill the sun. And then finally we have Sunman attacking Montana, which again kind of seems a bit weird because Montana is part of the Horde and not actually with Hordak, but he is in this wave and they needed to try to bring those all together in that wave. And stuff ensues. Pig-Head steals a crystal here that is supposed to be that ancient sunstone. He wants to use that to power his takeover of the universe, the Sun Home, whatever. I don't know what the name of their planet is supposed to be offhand, to be honest. But he wants to use it to take over both that and Eternia, starting with Castle Grayskull in this one. And we have this end part where Sunman's little feathered cape looks much, much better in the artwork than it actually did in the figure itself. But that's us going over the Origins thing. There is a Sunman figure for Masterverse, and aside from the wings it has, it actually does not look any better than... It actually looks worse than the actual Origins one, in my opinion. I didn't bring it with me. I got it a while ago. The package had been so damaged I didn't even bother taking pictures of it, to be honest. Well, let's go ahead and open him up. And this is Masterverse, so we need to go by the top because they have this stupid little thing at the bottom. The gray Masterverse background. Okay. Here is Pig-Head in all of his glory. Let's take a look at the figure itself first. The shoulder armor does not want to stay in place very well. Oh my god. This is disheartening. This should have been done better. Like, it's too loose. And it's not like Origins where you have the little set of things where you can make it tighter and tighter. It's just there. If you get it far enough on the bicep, it sits too tall. All right, so that's bad. Articulation wise, we have a ball joint at the head, allowing it to spin all around, look up and down, sideways. The arms, of course, can spin. They can hinge up, which is going to probably cause you to slide the arm armor that you just spent a minute trying to get positioned so it stays there, to slide in the wrong spot. Hinge down. Double jointed elbow. The wrist spins and has the in and out articulation. We can replace it with a fist if we want, in which case we can also... Oh wow, maybe we can't. Usually the bracers come off of these figures. Guess not this time. That's too bad. That might have been good for customizing. Ah, I can barely get the fist in there. Okay, then you can replace it with the fist. His other hand is the slapping hand. I don't have another figure here to have him... Well, okay. I do have another figure for him to slap. I was thinking about grabbing one of the G.I. Joe figures I have sitting here, but that would have been one of the women, and I don't want it to go that way. Smack! Alright, he's got the ab ball joint, so you got the crunch that can spin around. He's got just a standard swivel at the hips. Knee can kick up. There's a cut in the skirt piece so that it can go a little bit higher than if it wasn't. Kick back. Straight back goes about that far. Out goes that far. Swivel at the thigh. Double joint here at the knee. And this is really looking like a horror show at the moment with the way he's bending. We have a boot cut. I am thinking this is actually maybe a standard Motu boot in this line. Possibly the same ones that He-Man uses. He's got a hinge here at the ankle and a spin for the peg. And there goes his armor again. God. They did a really poor job on the shoulder armor here. To me, there's no excuse for that. If you're gonna do it right. Of course, the other hand that we have for his left hand, we can remove. Ow. We can remove the slapping hand, and we can put in another grasping hand. This figure is so tight in the holes. He comes with an energy snake, which they usually show wrapping around his body somehow in the artwork. This does not come with the previous one, but there we go. He's got a pet. How bad can he be? He has a pet. He's got a mace. I don't know why they decided to do this in clear plastic like this. It is weird because it's not the same rubbery thing that they use for the snake, but it is still kind of more flexible. And I know they weren't. There's no way they were actually going to make a chain here to use where it would work, but you know. And of course, we have his shield, which has the uh, back part that's designed more for the hand to go under like that, which is sad because like this actually is holding it in place pretty well. Unlike when you look at the Masterverse Tila they did, where her shield doesn't want to stay in place because there's not enough friction in it, the design. So I guess we'll take off. I'm wondering if his bracer is going to interfere with putting the shield on him though too. And actually, I miss the clip-on shields. I do. Let's see. There we go. He can also wear the snake as a boa. Seriously, how bad can he be? He's got a pet. He wears snakeskin boas. Sure, he's got an energy mace in his hand that could probably kill you, but why not? Since I don't have a vintage figure to compare him to, I can show you compared to the Origins figure. Uh, he's actually got the Origins one actually has got some pretty unique parts compared to other Origins figures as well. Because if you looked, all the Sunman characters had basically the same buck except for Pig-Head, where his arm bracers and his boots are different, and they're not even like Masters of the Universe boots because he's got this little um, thorn claw thing on the back. But aside from that, I mean, the designs are pretty much just a scaled up version. The head is actually bigger though on the Origins one than on the Masterverse one. And now that I think about it, I think someone had said before that you can actually swap heads from Masterverse and Origins, like they're using the same head joint. Kind of. It's not as strong as joint. Anyway, let's take a good look at his head real quick and all the detailing here. So the snout has some colored in part. It's a nice dark green here. Darker, honestly, than what his actual legs are. Although, looking inside, it does look like they're molded in the same color. It's just the coating that makes it a little bit more enhanced. And overall, I do think the Masterverse sculpt is better than the Origin sculpt. We've got more detail in the helmet, in his little horny things. Oh, sadly, that's a paint error on that part that I did not notice before. Also, the darker green here definitely differentiates the eyes from the rest of the body better, and the tusks are a much darker um, uh, bone color than those ones. So this head definitely stands out more than this one when it comes to the design. So to be honest with you, aside from the shoulder pauldrons, or I don't know if those are actually considered pauldrons when they're on the arm that way. Pauldrons have to actually come off of the shoulders of the armor. And he does have more detail in his armor too with that. That's the other thing with Masterverse. They weren't afraid to actually make different bodies for the figures, which is what I mean. Origins is just usually the same bodies with different equipment. Um, and I don't know if maybe I can heat. Maybe I'll try. I'm going to try heating this up to see if these things can actually move, because my OCD issues have me very annoyed by the fact that the spikes are not sitting in the same spots on both sides, because you got like the larger spikes here towards the top and here not so much. Or are they? I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. So anyway, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh no, we did it. Please. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace and love.